Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Now, more than 3 million South Africans have been fully vaccinated so far. This equates to 5.7% of the population. The Gauteng General Practitioners Collaboration is on a drive to educate the public about the benefits of getting the jab. Joining me is family physician Dr. Sheri Fanaroff. Thank you very much, Doc, for your time here on eNCA. Now, first of all, of course, a lot of people don't understand in terms of getting the Johnson & Johnson, or because these days you're given a choice whether you want the Johnson & Johnson or the Pfizer vaccine. And people usually choose Johnson & Johnson because you get only one jab. I think they don't understand, the argument about efficacy and so on.
So both those vaccines are excellent vaccines. I would be happy with myself or my family members getting any of them. And I think, whichever one you can get first is generally the one that I would encourage you to get. Johnson & Johnson is convenient. It's a one-dose vaccine, and the efficacy is there within 3 to 4 weeks after having just one shot. Pfizer worldwide has been hailed as one of the best vaccines around. It is 2 doses. Even after the first shot, though, after about 3 weeks, there is reasonable immunity, but you do need both doses and still 2 weeks post the second dose to have really good immunity.
Of course, there's also quite a lot of conspiracy theories about this. People saying that it's got a microchip. Some people still talking about the 5G conspiracy theory. What is it that we need to educate South Africans about in terms of getting this vaccine and not following what these, these conspiracy theories say?
The vaccine is safe and it's effective. And what we are seeing at a hospital level is that the ICUs and hospital wards are at the moment mostly full of unvaccinated people. People really need to follow doctors that they trust and the signs that they trust, and that's why Gauteng GP Association is trying to really put out good information that vaccines work and are effective. A lot of corporates are coming on board now also. Workforces are encouraging their staff to go and get vaccinated. We applaud companies like Wimpy who are incentivizing people to go get vaccinated by giving out coffees in countries overseas. A lot of other corporates give away things like train tickets or even alcohol, just to encourage people to get vaccines, and we would encourage more incentives like that from the business world.
Now, of course, a lot of people would say that I've already had COVID-19. Why should I go get vaccinated? Some people's argument is that their bodies have developed antibodies, or the immune systems have developed antibodies, and that will work in terms of protecting them. But these don't last the rest of your life, for instance. So you'd still need the vaccine even after contracting the pandemic, right?
Correct. So it's true that you get good immunity once you've had COVID. But we have seen, for example, people who got infected with the beta strain initially, later also getting infected by the delta strain. If you have a vaccine, it boosts that natural immunity that you've built up and gives you a greater, longer-lasting immunity that's going to hopefully work against new variants as they come.
And also, what are, Doc, if you could just explain to us, are there any do's and don'ts after getting vaccinated? For instance, alcohol, exercise, if you're a person who enjoys going to the gym. Is there anything that we should do and shouldn't do after the jab?
So generally the recommendation after a vaccine is not to overexert for 48 hours, and that's really just in terms of making sure that there are no side effects. Mild exercise, especially in young people who are feeling fine and well after the vaccine, is fine. You don't have to give up all exercise, but very high exertional exercise probably shouldn't be done. Alcohol after the vaccine is probably not a problem, although I wouldn't suggest excessive alcohol use straight after.
And let's talk about the mask. I think for us, we know, because of what we read, interviewing the likes of doctors and people in the health fraternity about the fact that you still need to wear your mask to protect others, right? Even after you have the vaccine or you have been vaccinated. But there are some people who are arguing that, well, if I've been vaccinated, why should I wear a mask? I think there's not understanding on why you wear a mask and why you should continue wearing a mask even after getting the jab.
Even once you are vaccinated, because the transmission rate in our country is still really high, and because the majority of people are not vaccinated, it's important to still take other measures like mask wearing and social distancing. The vaccine is only one measure in terms of the fight against coronavirus. On its own, in a mostly unvaccinated population, it's not enough, and you can still transmit the illness and you can still get it. So mask wearing at the moment is still encouraged. And in fact, even in the USA, the CDC have reversed their ruling that you don't need to wear a mask. They had that for a couple of months, but with Delta variant in the USA and a spike of infections there, they've actually also reintroduced mask wearing because it works.
Doc, also in terms of as South Africa needs 67% herd immunity, and government's plan was to have that reached by December. It probably won't happen because we're only on about 5 to 6% right now, and it's only 4 months left until December. But does this mean, after your previous answer, does it mean that we need to wear masks, like masks are going to be a norm in our lives for a long time, even after reaching that 67% herd immunity?
The reality is probably still for some time, yes. And, exactly as I've mentioned, there's no magic number of when you have reached herd immunity. And with variants and strains, you need to use whatever levels of protection you can to avoid getting the virus, and that includes vaccination as well as mask wearing. So it's difficult to give a definite time as to when we won't need masks any longer. Some countries have lifted mask restrictions when the majority are vaccinated. Many of them have had to reintroduce them in certain situations.
All right, Dr. Sheri Fanaroff, thank you very much for your time. She is, of course, she is the family physician, rather, of the Gauteng General Practitioners Collaboration.